his name, the chap? And she said, I don't know, didn't ask.
The Central Asia specialist Monica Whitlock. Now, what would happen if you took a group of disabled people to a remote island and then told them to look after themselves, all for a television reality show? Well, that's the premise of a new comedy drama series that's going to be shown on British television starting tonight. Here's a snippet.
I've put some pasta on for lunch. Do we have any special dietary requirements?
Yeah.
Special dietary requirements?
I'm slightly lactose intolerant. I won't go into details, but cream's a bad idea.
I prefer food prepared by other people.
Imagine blisters and seepage and seeping blisters, you'll get why.
Oh, I'm vegetarian.
You're a what?
Vegetarian? What's strange about that?
You're such a meat eater, that's what's strange about that.
I just don't like the idea of eating something that bleeds, that's all.
Well, what makes this show just a bit different is that the actors who act in it and the writers who wrote it are themselves disabled people. So does that make it all right to laugh at jokes about people with disabilities? Well, I've been discussing it with Victoria Wright, who's one of the actors in the show, and with the writer and academic Tom Shakespeare. First, because you can't actually see them, I asked them to describe themselves and their disabilities. Victoria first.
Well, I've got a condition called cherubism, which is very rare, and it affects the shape of my face and my eyes as well. So to kind of draw a picture of what I look like, basically I've got a very big chin, is pretty much the most kind of striking aspect of my face. I've got a big head. So, but I generally just say that I've got a facial disfigurement.
OK, Tom, you?
Yeah, I was born with restricted growth, so what you might call a dwarf. And last year I gathered another impairment. I became spinal cord injured, so I used a wheelchair.
OK, now, Victoria, here we have a comedy drama series written and acted by people with a variety of disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
You want us to laugh, don't you, when we watch it?
And we want you to laugh with us, not at us.
Ah.
And that's the key difference, really. The context is very different. This is very much a programme that's been influenced by disability all the way through, from the fact that Jack Thorne, who created it, is disabled. Another one of the writers is visually impaired. The 6 main leading actors are disabled. A load of the supporting cast are disabled. Even the group who do the theme music, which is fantastic, is a punk band called Heavy Load, which is made up of a mixture of learning disabled and non-disabled musicians. I met the drummer who has Down syndrome last night, and he was wicked. So there's a huge disability thing all the way through it, and it's very different, you know, having disabled people making in-jokes about disability. It's very different from having, say, a non-disabled comedian like Jimmy Carr doing a big gig in front of a load of non-disabled comedians.
He made a joke recently which was rather controversial, wasn't it? But let me go to you, Tom. You weren't involved in this series, but I think you've seen a couple of the shows. You happy with it?
Yeah, I mean, the characters are wonderful. They're strong characters. They're funny. It's dark. Because, of course, when disabled people get together, we make jokes. We laugh at ourselves and each other. I think, as Victoria says, it's when people from the outside poke fun at us and try to demean us through humour, that's where the problem lies. And this isn't about that. I mean, I think it could have been darker, quite frankly. You know, it's written by people who write, you know, cutting-edge political satire. And for me, it pulled its punches a bit. And maybe that's because I'm disabled, and if a non-disabled audience member watches it, they might think, oh, my goodness, that's shocking. I didn't think we could laugh at that.
But here's the thing, Victoria. I mean, the people watching this, by and large, will not be disabled people. You say you want them to laugh with you, but not at you. But, of course, you won't know whether they're laughing, and if they are laughing, what they're laughing at.
Yeah, I think well, I hope that a large portion of the audience will be disabled. I hope a lot of disabled people will go, oh, fantastic, a programme about us, you know, for us, that's going to be really cool, let's watch it. But yeah, a big portion of the audience are going to be non-disabled people. And sure, I think some of them will probably be laughing maybe at the beginning for the wrong reasons, but hopefully because it's such a good quality comedy drama, eventually they'll be so engaged that they'll be laughing kind of with us and be taken on, you know, the adventures and the storylines, and at the end of it, hopefully we've kind of pressed a few buttons and maybe tackled a few prejudices along the way.
Tom, as a viewer, just of a couple of episodes so far, maybe, but I mean, as a viewer, what did you take away from it? Did you laugh a lot?
I laughed a few times, and I laughed long and loud a few times. There are some great jokes in it. For example, the deaf woman teaching the blind man sign language. I mean, just think about that setup. That's a funny scenario. But I'm not sure. I think it's not quite sure as a program whether it's, as it were, consciousness-raising, educational, worthy stuff, or whether it's entertainment, whether it's dark and wicked funny.
Stop there for 1 second, because just taking that example, Victoria, the deaf person teaching the blind person sign language, if that joke had been written and performed not by blind or deaf people, but let us say on a Monty Python show, would it still be funny?
It might still be funny, but for a different way. I think it's a very funny scene because Sophie Woolley, who plays the deaf character, is a fantastic comedian. And Tim Gebels, who plays the blind character in it, is incredible. He gets the best deadpan one-liners in it. I think it's funny because of the performances are so funny, and also, you know, they're kind of saying, we give permission for you guys to laugh. Look, we're laughing at ourselves. I think disabled people get a reputation for being politically correct. That's an awful phrase that always makes my blood boil. It's political correctness gone mad.
Yeah. But Tom, sorry to interrupt you, but Tom, are you saying that it does make a difference who writes and performs this kind of material?
Yes, absolutely. And I think, for example, you know, black comedians can make jokes about race that a white comedian couldn't get away with, and similarly women talking about each other. But it's always problematic. I think it's permissible but problematic.
Tom Shakespeare with the actor Victoria Wright. Hamid in Canada's just written in to say, I'm totally blind and I sometimes tell jokes about blind people. Shows my level of comfort with who I am. A person first, a person with disability second. Thanks for that. Thank you for listening. This has been Newshour. I'm Robin Lustig in London.
BBC World Service.
The BBC International Playwriting Competition winner, The Prison Graduates, by Efo Kojo